Welcome back to CTN. I'm your host, Robert Van Sluten. This episode, we're going to build an application. Imagine an application with a slider and a numeric value. And as you change the slider, the numeric value ranges from 0 to 100. We have the model view controller design paradigm. So we have a controller. We don't have a model because there's really no data to speak of. When the slider changes position, we have to perform an action. And as a result of that action, we're going to need an outlet to change the numeric value that's displayed. Let's get started. I've created a project called Slider, and we're going to start by designing our user interface. I'm going to do that by selecting the storyboard. What we have here is a representation of our view controller and the view you get for free along with the view controller. I'm going to go over to the library area over in the utility portion on the right hand side, and I'm going to drag in a slider. And I'm going to go over here and bring in, see if I can find it. There we go. A label, which is just basically a piece of text. And I'm not going to worry too much about alignment. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay. And I'm going to make that an initial value of 50. I'm going to select my slider here, and I'm going to look at its attributes. I'm going to give it an initial value of 50. I'm going to start on the left-hand side with 0, which is fine, and largest value will be 100. Okay, we now have our user interface. However, we go and run this, it won't do anything because there's no functionality. We'll go to the next slide and we'll actually hook this up. To actually complete this application, I'm going to continue by opening the Assistant Editor button up here. And what comes up is the source code for the view controller, where our functionality is actually going to live. We want an outlet for our label so we can control it. So I'm going to control drag from the label to the interface portion. And I'm going to call this display value. It is a UI label, that's fine. Relationship's weak. Now don't worry about the details. We haven't covered the syntactical constructs of Objective-C yet, and we'll start doing that in the next episode. When the slider changes value, we want to have an action. So we're going to control drag from the implementation section from the slider to the implementation section. And we'll just simply call this slider change. The thing that's being passed in as a slider. Okay, we get a method. It's a piece of functionality. It'll be invoked when the slider changes value. Now for this to actually work, something has to be done. Some actual procedural work has to be done. I have some code in my clipboard here. I'm going to paste in. And we'll talk about that next time. But at this point, we have what we need. I'm going to go ahead and execute this. It's a little slow when you're running QuickTime recording at the same time. And what we have is a functioning application. Keep in mind the projects are on the CocoaTouch Netcast website, CocoaTouchNetcast.com. And we'll be talking about Objective-C in the next episode. Thanks for watching.